Finding out that you've been lied to on a large scale is a very humbling experience. To think that you could have been deceived, similar to a child believing in Santa Claus. Why would they lie about Santa? And why would they lie and pretend to be going to space and putting us on a fake cartoon ball? It's a really good question. But what I'm going to address today is just the obvious and undeniable proof that we've been lied to. It's been a while since I've put together a compilation of all of the fraud in space, and I'm not going in any particular order, and I will show only the ones that have not been disproven, because there's no way to argue your way out of these guys being deceivers and using tricks to deceive all of us. They don't always get caught, but sometimes like this, where you have Don Pettit pretending to drink coffee out of his homemade container that is spill-proof due to the properties of water and the angles of this cup that he has made. His engineering skills are being shown off, but what happens is the coffee comes out of the container, but not in a natural way. It literally shoots straight through the plastic and turns into a computer animated square, just like it is a computer animation, virtual augmented reality. And that's what he has, and he's showing it off. Luckily, thanks to the Father, sometimes these deceivers get caught, and those who have eyes can see the deception. That is not possible with any other technology than multi-layered virtual reality. They have unlimited resources to pull this stuff off. It's not extremely hard to do. It is difficult, but they have more money than Hollywood. Now, this next one, this one's kind of funny because Mr. Hatfield over here, he's one of their favorite people to put in front of the camera because he's very charismatic. But on this day, when he was showing off his singing skills, the microphone does something special. It literally penetrates his head, his ear, and eventually his throat and his face. And you can't make this up. It's just that multi-layered technology malfunctioning, and the microphone is literally sticking out of his neck, as you can see here. You can't un-CGI your way out of this when you're doing it live. This is live, and so you have someone talking into his ear and telling him, hey buddy, you probably need to pull your head away because there's a mic sticking into your neck. And so that's what he does. In the middle of his song, he's just started this song, he pulls away. And then they cut to the damage control room like they always do, and you have the man over here taking pictures who realizes this. He's probably zoomed way in on the screen, and then he puts his camera down and makes the face of like, oh no, this isn't good. Look at that face. And so he wants to take another picture, but he does the right thing and avoids losing his job and his life. But those are just two little computer animation fails. This next one is one of my all-time favorites. It's our first time seeing the stars from space. This was taken before NASA started faking space. This was the US Air Force, and it's probably why they decided to just devote a branch to focusing on faking of space, because here's the footage taken from the capsule, or so they told us. And there's the moon, the Milky Way galaxy at the bottom. You can see the moon here. And I'm sorry to laugh. Some of you may believe this is real. And, you know, I really hope that you'll just take a closer look at it. I don't know what to tell you. I've had people claim it's real. It's okay. If you think this is real, you just might want to go get your eyes checked. Because to me, this looks like they stole some kid's light bright and just had their way with it. There is literally a star inside the crescent shape of the moon. Looks like a face when you turn it the other direction. It's pathetic. So that was the early days of fake space, and it's probably why on the moon missions they just did not show us any stars, or anytime you see anything like a picture of a planet or Earth, there's never any stars involved, even though we can go outside and take a picture of the moon and have stars in the background. Now, for those of you who don't believe that this is fake, you can read the article yourself. This is from the British Faith, a news organization, and they say that the shot of the starry sky, including the moon, was taken from the capsule. That's their claim. You can look at it again and see if that's what you think. Maybe that's what the firmament really looks like, and that's what they're hiding. But I believe it's deception. Now, flash forward after the Apollo missions. They were doing tons of these missions called the STS missions, where they were taking that airplane up to space and doing lots of satellite launches and different studies. And it was a lot easier because they could just come back and land at a little runway. And they were doing this all the time, like clockwork. So there's lots of those missions to look at. And with highlight tapes, which is what they showed us, it's a lot easier to pull off some tricks because you're only showing the good stuff that doesn't malfunction. But sometimes someone doesn't get the memo that there is an obvious fail in the picture or in the video. And in this case, the string that is lifting up this satellite that they're pretending to just shoot out into deep space becomes visible for a brief moment. Back in the day, we didn't catch this because we didn't have internet. We couldn't replay it. Now we do. And now it's kind of like, you know, Santa Claus's beard getting pulled off. You have to realize you're being lied to. These people looking out the window, pretending to carry out these missions are actors. They're some of the happiest people on earth. Even though you can put somebody like me in an airplane, and I love to fly, for about 15 hours, I'm no longer happy. These people are in there for, you know, nowadays like a year. And they're just perfectly smiling, happy people. They don't go crazy at all. I would go insane. And floating around is like, oh, that's what makes them happy. But these people, lots of missions, and they are pretty much, to me, discredited because they've been caught lying. If they were lying with one of these launches, chances are the other ones were the same type of situation, maybe a little better carried out to where they didn't malfunction. But then we have more multi-layered fails as we come nearer to the present. And you have these guys here waving goodbye at the end of their perfect live event. Everything went great, looked like they were in space, but then they were exposed when this glitch happens and only the moving objects are seen swirling into oblivion. These guys almost got away with it. And like Mike Helmick said, there's a time coming when we will not be able to tell the difference in these guys faking space, or is it reality? We won't be able to tell. And this is one of those situations where it really looks like they're in a room, but those moving objects tell a different story. And when this happens, you've never seen this happen anywhere but in fake space. This is ridiculous too. All this stuff is ridiculous. Like I said, I'm only showing the obvious fails for people who think we are crazy and making this up. We're not. Now, this is one that's controversial a little bit because many say this is not bubbles in space, it's something else. But the problem is an object in motion in a vacuum and microgravity would go in the same direction. It would not go in a curved path. And you see lots of times, whatever this is shooting out, the people at NASA had no clue what it was. The astronaut said he couldn't even see it, but these things were shooting out at a rapid rate. If it was water like they thought it might be, that's a need to panic when your environment is 200 miles above Earth and there's no way to get you fresh water. Once you run out, it's gone. And this looks like gallons upon gallons just pouring out. So whether or not it's bubbles or water, it's a big deal. And they don't seem to really care, and they just carry on the mission when this is actually a life or death situation because they have a limited supply of everything. But there you go, you can see it everywhere. Tons and tons of bubbles or water. It's definitely not what Scott Kelly said, the flakes of paint, because of the rough environment of space. The whole spaceship will be gone in a week if that's flakes of paint like he said. Now, this one, very interesting. You're watching one of their mini satellite launches. Of course, they were faking it in the 80s. Maybe now we have the technology, but you look in and you can see that their chroma key effects malfunction and the panels on this satellite vanish. This is more recent. You know, this is probably within the last 10 years or so. Can't remember the exact date of this. Definitely not the 80s. Using different technology. Probably no strings attached here. This is 100% green screen or whatever they're doing. Looks real, but thankfully, like I said earlier, they do get caught and they switch to the damage control room every time. And usually you'll have a guy with a camera walking around taking pictures. And like this guy, sometimes they just don't take pictures. They just walk in, pretend they're taking pictures, walk right back out. So every day is a very big event there. Lots of science going on. Billions of our dollars go in there, and somehow they're able to invest that into t-shirts and all sorts of other business adventures and make money and keep the money and keep the profit. But here is something I came across the other day. This is really recent. This is like from this decade. And you see here, this is supposedly deep space. Look in the background. Where did they go? Did they accidentally go over Antarctica? This looks like tons and tons of bubbles. Or it could be water, ice, something like that. There is a lot of this stuff moving from all different directions. This is insane. I've never seen this much debris in space. This seems like it could be dangerous, but some of these, like the other footage, are not moving in a straight line. Like you can see, there's a little orb right here, and it moves in a curved path. This thing is definitely going in a curved path in a different direction. I've adjusted the brightness so you can see these better, but this is crazy. I've never seen so much of these bubbles or ice or whatever this is in space. This really does just look like some sort of snowstorm, as if they're not even in any kind of space environment like we've been told whatsoever, and occasionally they run into this stuff. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words because some of this stuff is coming from a direction where there is no ISS. It's coming from top of the screen, bottom of the screen, side of the screen. It's moving in different directions, meaning there has to be some sort of atmosphere or water involved for these things to get blown in a curved path. Otherwise, they would stay in their exact same motion. It's not really rocket science. I used to think that was a big deal, rocket science, but that's compartmentalized itself. Now, other than that, there are countless other times where they've been caught and they've had things happen to where, let's just say, wire harnesses have been exposed, or maybe their virtual reality toy vanishes and they grab at nothing. Lots of other things that people can try to dismiss and make excuses for, but there's only so many excuses we can make. And like you've seen here, tons and tons of obvious deception. Do they always get caught? Not really. They've actually done a really good job of carrying on such a lie for so many decades. It's been going on for a while. Before I was born and before many of you were born, they were doing this stuff with all the resources they need, and it's worth all the money in the world to them and all the resources to hide the truth, because that's what it boils down to. Understanding who we are, who made us, and what we live on has to remain hidden for their power structure and future deceptions to work. It all falls apart when we understand who we are, the beloved creations of the Most High, and that grace that for whatever reason seems so dangerous that it has to be banned, teaching it in many places, believing that you are loved and that you should forgive others and pray for your enemy, that's dangerous. They don't ban other books that talk about all sorts of crazy things and violence, but they ban ours. And that book tells us what we live on, how it was made, who made it, and exactly what's in store for us in the future. So that's just a little sample of some of the heavy hitters. I wanted to put that out there to cover this in detail, some of the major ones for those of you who are trying to wake people up. You're doing a great job. I'm having so many people come to us, even in times of a shadow ban, and say, wow, this is something I've never seen before. You know, someone sent this to me in an email, or someone shared this in a private message, and now I'm looking into this for the first time. It is making a difference, a little slower than it was before, but it's time that we accept the truth and that love and forgiveness that this world is hiding, and spread the truth no matter what the cost. You guys are awesome. I love you all. The Father loves you. Take care, and God bless.